First of all, I want to weigh the pack. I have a luggage scale here. Now I am weighing this with no food, no water, but I do have a jumper and my waterproofs. And base weight isn't usually considered part of things like clothing, so it is going to be lighter without that jumper, socks, underwear, t-shirt that I've got in this pack. So take that into account. Let's turn it on and weigh it off. Glasses on for this one, I'm afraid. What have I got here? 21.6 pound. Let me just flick it over into kilometers so I understand it. 9.8. And turn that back off before I dead the battery on the weigh scale. 9.8. Under 10 kilos. So this is kit without compromise. I'm not going to compromise good eating. I'm not going to compromise being warm for the night. I'm not going to compromise how comfortable I am. I'm not going to compromise how waterproof I am. I have a tent. This one is just 1.4 kilos. I want something warm to sleep on, and I'm using the IOU system, which is in, under and on. I need something to sleep on. On could be an air pad or a foam roll. Now this is going to be your choice, which you prefer. I have chosen something that is about, I think, 900 grams plus. I want the ability to cook. So here's my cook set, not including the fuel. That's never included as part of the base weight. I don't make the rules, that's just it. And then a sleeping bag, which I'm going to bring you in closer now to have a look at. Often, this is where the confusion is, your sleeping bag. A lot of people will see they have a sleeping bag rated, and they use that rating for the low point, which you should never do. Never do. I'm going to quickly explain that. I'm sure you already know, but for those who don't, it's going to be, let's just say, +5 tonight, and that's Celsius because I'm here in the UK. So I'm going to buy a sleeping bag that says +5. That's its lower limit. You've already hit the comfort and gone beyond, so you are no longer in the comfort range. You are now cooling down, and a lot of people will buy a -5 or +5 for 5 degrees, wonder why it's cold and say sleeping bag is rubbish. The way you do it is you Google up what the likely temperatures are going to be 3 o'clock in the morning on the date you want to camp, and you need a sleeping bag that is capable of going lower by 10 degrees. So if I said it was +5 tonight, I want one that's -5 comfort. This is the Buffalo sleeping bag. It is a Pertex shell and an Aquatherm fleece lining. Look at that pile fleece. And Buffalo don't give a lower temperature rating, and I thought that was weird at first, and then I thought actually that's clever because there's no comeback on them. See what you like at those temperatures, and then you'll know whether you're going to bring one part or both parts. Then you found your personal lower temperature limit. Now I bought a bivvy bag. This is nylon, centre zip, as is the Buffalo. I may as well get it out while I'm here. So I could forgo the 1.4 kilo tent and sleep under the stars if it's not going to rain. Save myself a bit of weight there. But I did say without compromise. So in other words, a bit of luxury, you know. So would I bring this here, a bivvy and a tent? It has been known. I'm a cold sleeper. Something to wear. This is just another Buffalo. It is Pertex shell with an Aquatherm fleece, just like the sleeping bag. It's kind of a head over, so there are no buttons or zip down the front. In here, hat gloves, underwear, got hat, socks, underwear. It's only 24 hours, and obviously you're going to pack accordingly, and what dictates trip duration is the amount of food you're going to bring with you. Not a bit noisy, that. Not the amount of clothing you bring. Okay, I've got everything laid out now of that 9.8 kilos. It did also include on the front of my pack rain pants. So let's lay it all out and have a look how many individual components, the minimum I can get away with without compromising comfort, being well fed, being dry, warm, etc. And I'm happy with this. Remember, it's only 9.8 kilos. So here it is laid out. There's not many individual components, as you can see. So I have a sleeping bag there. Although mine has a bivvy cover on, you can forego that. Waterproof leggings there, 2-piece. There is warm kit. Now that warm kit could be anything you want. A warm jumper, such as a fleece, a wool jumper, merino wool, aquatherm, you choose. I'm not going to dictate to you in this video. A tent, an air pad, and even a luxury item. I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-piece. What about all the other things I need, such as incidentals and an IFAC and things like that? Well, it stands to reason that could be a different video in itself. So while I pack away, I'll quickly talk about my incidentals kit. So incidentals kit will be things like illumination, ablutions, maybe a fire making kit, water purification, and then an IFAC, individual first aid kit. I only address issues that are more likely to happen, such as blisters and twisted ankles, things like that. So that was 2 sleeping bags, just went into the main body there. So I have a really warm layer to sleep in. I have a really thick, wide, long air pad full of feathers. It's not the lightest, neither is the sleeping bag. The sleeping bag is 2-part, 1.1 kilos and 1.6 kilos. So I think that's somewhere around 2.8 kilos. It's not light, like I said. I do allow for luxury items, and I will do a video on luxury items because I have a few of them, but I only allow for 1 or 2 on every trip. Now that luxury item might be something like this little sheet, which really helps me out when I'm camping somewhere like here. I also have other luxury items, and I would love to tell you what they are, but that's a different video. I'm going to choose a cook set that works for me. You're going to choose a cook set that works for you. Notice this time the tent has gone in and it's not strapped to the top, neither does it have to be. Instead, I think I'll strap my waterproofs to the top. Try and keep your clothing separate from your rest of your kit for when it does go cold. This goes down the bottom of the pack, which does have a separation. I'll show you how I do mine. I've opened up my pack with the separation. There is my sleeping bag. Now I'm going to turn my whole pack upside down. Squash the sleeping bag to the head. This way I know I've got access to warm kit, and I know it's going to fit in each and every time, although the zips on this are a little tricky. That is why I only allow a certain amount of literage in the bottom there for warm kit. Now, it's all well and good having warm kit, turn it the other way around, but if that warm kit gets wet, it's no longer warm. If you've missed out on other videos talking about my cold, wet and dry layers. There are videos on the channel. I suggest you go and look. This used to be strapped to the front. I'm going to strap it onto the top. On this particular pack, I have 2 side pockets, and they are generous. Plenty big enough to house a 1 litre bottle either side. Alternatively, this pack, I can slip a bladder down, but I find bladders eat valuable space. I have luxury items. If I think I've packed particularly well and I haven't overpacked and I thought it through, then I think, do you know what, I deserve a treat, and I'm going to put it in, and that's my choice to carry that luxury item. I have everything I want here. It is kit without compromise. I'm not compromising how warm I am, how well I'm eating, how dry I am, in other words. There's no compromise, and yet I am well under that 16, 17 kilos other people struggle with. So this is more about a mentality training exercise. Kit without compromise. Tell yourself you want to be warm, dry and well fed. If you only cater for that, you could be lighter than even this, because you wouldn't have the spare jumper, the head torch, a wash kit, and even the first aid kit. That could be a pocket carry if you wanted, in a tin. That could be a pocket carry. So yeah, you could really go lighter than me. So I hope this has helped you somewhere along the line of getting up here sorted. Not this. This sorts itself out. Get up here sorted. You want to be warm, dry, well fed. If you want a first aid pack, put one in. You could even buy one off the shelf, but I don't like them. I'd rather make my own. So if you want to use a different sleeping bag, a different pad, a different tent, a different pot to cook in, they're acceptable. That's your option. Just as these pieces of kit are my options, my preferences, and I don't expect your preference to be the same as mine. Instead, all we're looking at is to limit your individual components. So before you leave to go trekking, lay all your individual components you want to take. You know you're going to want a sleeping bag, maybe a top quilt, a wool blanket, I don't care, your choices. You know you're going to want something to sleep on, like an air pad, a self-inflating pad, or a foam roll. Again, I don't care, your choice. I have my choice. And lay it out. You might need a tent. Now that could also be a bivvy or a tarp. Again, your choice. Put it on the floor. Lay it out in your house before you go. You know you're going to want things like an ablutions kit, illumination, batteries for that illumination, so forth. And that can be no bigger than, say, a litre. Lay it all out with a spare jumper, a pot to cook with, and the ability to heat the foods with any stove and any pot you want. Once it's all laid out in front of you at home, then you find a pack that is big enough to cater for what you're taking. Too many people fall into the trap of starting with a big pack and forcing everything down like that, seeing that there's more space available and putting more in. You should never do that. Start off knowing what you're taking, put it in your pack, and that's it. That is how this is kit without compromise at 9.8 kilos. Well, this is kit without compromise. I've got a good sleeping bag, so I wake up fresh, happy, having had a warm sleep the previous night, not a cold sleep the previous night. I bought myself a decent pad, so I've been comfortable. And a lot of people think that air pads are only for comfort. They're not. They increase the warmth underneath you, and I really think that you could get away with a cooler sleeping bag but a warmer pad. But it's going to be a different video. Until next time, take care of yourself. I'll see you out there. I'm going to haul my 9.8 out of here. See you next time.